Alrighty, we'll call this meeting to order. The Public Safety Committee meeting for August 8th, 2024. It's now 12 p.m. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll motion it.
Seconder. Second by Andrew. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carried, thank you. Moving on to the conflict of interest disclosures. Any disclosures?
None.
No disclosures, so move on to item 4, review of the advisory forum from last night, August the 7th. That was a very good forum. We had some excellent guests and excellent presentations. They covered a lot of information. And anybody have any questions, comments?
Well, I was totally impressed too, and it was like that hour and a half was fast. It was a good hour and a half.
Well, when you've got, interesting information coming out, it just the time flies.
Yeah.
It was an hour and a half. I couldn't believe it. The time went by that quick.
The EMO, because we have our own EMO, most of us do.
Yes.
We meet once a month anyway, and I used to go every month until for the first 5-6 years, and then I stopped going unless there was something important.
Something major coming up.
Yeah, because Fire Chief Jody Price, he's our head of our EMO.
Right.
He does a thorough job, so.
Yeah, he's on the bit, that's for sure. Yeah. Terry heads up hours and she does a great job, so.
Yeah. But after that, the other two, especially the last one, because I didn't know a whole lot about it myself, right? And I've got some things to take back to my recreation department, because they're the ones that control that harvest for the bolts or whatever you call it, the
Buoyant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that one, we signed on to that earlier. We got the other one, gave up the ghost and it wasn't going to be available anymore. But Voyant took it over.
Yeah.
And they've been very good. It's a really good system and we make good use of it. Although we've had a few complaints, people saying that they're getting too many notices, but they can turn the notices off if they want to, right? They don't get notified on emergencies or whatnot. So maybe we'll look into that and do it, maybe do a little public training or something on that. But there's a great idea there. There's a $650 grant if we want to get a hold of Kerry.
Yeah, I wrote their name down too, and we're gonna.
The APS,
Yeah.
and then that's to kind of get more people to sign up for Voyant. So I think we'll certainly take advantage of that.
Mr. Chair, if I may, one of the things that came up in the meeting last night was, and one of the things that we're doing in some of the committees, a way maybe to broadcast that message widely is to use a forum like this and invite the other communities and make up our region and cast that widely for those who are interested. Where they could present on the David or McKinley or Brian, sorry, Ryan. Yeah, Brian could come in and do the presentation on Buoyant and the value of it and stuff for a broader swath of it. And what we normally do is invite municipal staff, councillors, the other directors or mayors or alternates that may wish to see a presentation on it. Some may find it redundant, but it may be a good way to get that out and share that grant information all at the same time.
Because I was thinking of getting together with you and bring Brian in on one of our account or our commission meetings.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to, like I said, if you want to make it bigger and bring in, others, councillors, CA, whatever, we can get together. We come up with devise a scheme for that. Also, it'd be great.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea, to be honest. And I do too. Like Director Powell saying, take advantage of it. And we're saying, Mr. Chair, take advantage, get the word out and maybe get even more people on it to be sure that, it's as widely broadcast as we could possibly make it for information purposes. Yeah.
Well, these, like I said, emergency notification systems are great, but they're only as good as the amount of people you have signed up for it. If you have a small percentage of your population, you may as well go and run it down the road, broadcasting something rather than using that. But I think if we can get people to sign up, it would be a benefit for all of us.
We broadcast it as the fields are wet and they can't use them for baseball, softball, we put it on there.
Sure.
And we could put on like when buses are late in the morning.
Yeah.
Because people are going on Facebook trying to find out all this stuff.
Yeah, they get an alert right on their cell phone or on their telephone or, landline, whatever.
And once we make the public aware that all this information can come out, more people are using it.
Because it's like I said, it's much better than the other one. The other one was basically for emergencies. They didn't encourage people to use it for anything else. So this is a really nice system.
So for clarity, are you thinking what you do with the Economic Expansion Committee, where we have a public safety committee meeting and then we invite everyone to the presentation?
Yeah.
And then it's live streamed?
It's live streamed. You have, and so instead of just your committee and those presenting or your forum members, that type of thing. On the economic expansion side, this has worked out very well on housing. And with Regional Development Corporation, we had representation from all communities on that. But we were able to get even deeper with the with municipal staff and with the other councillors to get the word out there to broaden that information. And it doesn't take any longer. Just I think it invites for the presentation, but not only that, but it invites a lot more interest into your committee. And it's not the only idea out there, Mr. Chair. We can sit down, but I think Kelly, that was where I was going, was that same thing. We've seen real benefit, and our next one is on economic expansion, is on agriculture in the region. And I think we're going to have a pretty good uptake on that as well.
Okay, so we'll get together and come up with a way to either have a special meeting or maybe in line with another committee, like broadcast it, do Zoom, all kinds of opportunities to get that information out there. So it's just a matter, I think, if people see that presentation from Brian, they'll be keen on getting this thing going really well.
Yeah. Now, I got a question. Was that the public safety meeting last night? Is that open to everybody in the RC, or is it just the committee?
That was a forum. As far as I know, that's open to everybody that wants to.
Yeah,
come in
I'm
there.
just surprised at how many weren't participating. It kind of blew me away, actually.
Yeah, even our committee wasn't participating in it, so.
Well, I think, Mr. Chair, no, with all due respect to Director Powell, I think what we were fighting last night was the summer, summer vacations, summer times in summer, we see interest waning in areas and things like that, and they'll catch up on the next one, or they'll read the notes or whatever it may be, because
Summer's
it
halfway
was a little
over.
small.
People are starting to get already get into the back to school mode. All the school supplies are out, Walmart and whatnot, so it just goes to show you time is fleeting pretty quick. So I think you hit the nail right on the head, due to the timing is hard to get people out.
And there wasn't one originally scheduled for July or August. This is just the dangler from June.
Oh, yeah, it's held open.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's all good. I think that, like I said, we certainly had a good presentation, and we can get that information out to the rest of the committee for sure, and the rest of mayors and councils, and get it out there to the public.
Yeah.
That would be great.
And
Spot on.
Yeah, any other comments on the review of the advisory forum? Was there anything else in there wanted to bring up, discuss? Any of our online folks?
Nothing for me, no.
All right, we'll move on to item 5, the budget discussion priorities. I think the big priority, Mr. Smith, will be just what we were talking about. I think that's a priority to get this organized and get it done. I can't see it costing a whole lot of money. Zoom meetings, unless we have a big, we have to rent someplace, we have a bigger hall or something we have to pay to have, but I think that's something we'll discuss if we can do it via Zoom and a small personal meeting, keep the cost low.
Okay. And is there anything, I guess, Mr. Chair, that the committee would like to consider moving forward? Like, is there something that we should be planning for if the, putting a bit of funding into the budget, whether it be a small amount or not, we can usually offset it with the Regional Services Support Fund at 50 cents.
Right.
So it's 50-50 investment, and looking to see if there's something that we need to put in there, a forward thinking on whether there's a priority that might require a bit of study or a bit of assessment or something like that. And if not, that's fine too, but it'd be nice to, if there is something, we're in the budget process now, we're doing most likely circulate our first budget to the committee, to the finance committee very shortly. And we just want to make sure that nobody's being left behind.
Yeah, okay. No, nobody on the committee has brought anything forward that I'm aware of, but there may be some ideas out there of something we can do. I wonder, a small amount of the budget, just in case we come up with an idea that we want to do something. I wouldn't put a whole lot of money in the budget.
Any idea of an amount you were thinking, or?
2,500 maybe?
I don't know. What do you think, Don?
$2,500 match on, with the RSSF is $5,000, which doesn't go very far. But, in the absence of sort of a specific,
Ask, yeah.
you know, $5,000 to $10,000 would provide staff with the ability to supplement resources in the event that something comes up. It's a small enough amount that it won't make a material difference in communities' payment when when you spread that across the tax base of 14 communities.
Yeah.
So, I think the impact to the budget of 5 as opposed to 10 will be insignificant. And so I guess I would suggest putting in 5 to be matched by 5 would be my observation.
Yeah, I'm good with that. How about you, Bob?
Yeah.
Any comments from our online folks?
No,
We're
that'd
good?
be fine.
Okay, any other budget ideas? Anything else anybody's thinking of? Okay, John, do you have anything there?
No, I think, Mr. Chair, I think, as Don had said, with the, with 5,000, we can match that to make it 10. The reality is, if we want to do something around the buoyant part or something along that, we could maybe do, out of that. This is leading into, of course, 2025 budget here.
That's right.
But, if there's a need for a refresh or some information to go out or some social media feeds and stuff, we can have our team work on that very cost effectively, but we would have the resources to make, put together a proper package or something like that. If there was a program that came out that would enhance public safety in some of the, whether it be our towns or, rural areas, or partnering with our largest community, it gives us an opportunity to be able to assess that and look at it properly and be able to come back and inform the committee at a very informed level.
Yeah, no, that's certainly a good idea. Anything else under the budget? We're good. All right, moving on to item 7, general discussion and direction to staff. The big thing is I think we've been doing very well with our forums at our meetings. We're having some very interesting topics discussed at our forums. I think our next forum, I think we were talking about possibly having ambulance in B, and was that the next one we had in mind?
That'd be interesting.
And that would be interesting to get something going, understanding, how they work around the province. Because nobody even thinks of an ambulance if they need one. So it would be good information to have. So.
Yeah, because we have a lot of issues around that, because right now a lot of our fire department is doing ambulance calls and
But our fire department goes out on every call.
and we're paying the price for that. Like, we have to buy the peppy pins, what do you call it? The pins?
EpiPens.
EpiPens.
EpiPens, yeah.
And we're doing a lot of that stuff now. Actually, we get to do more calls for accidents and medical relief than we do fire.
That takes up the biggest, that's the biggest amount of our calls is being there for accidents.
And we have to train our guys to do that. I mean, we have to pay for that.
Yeah, I think they somehow get that narrowed down where they don't have to work for every call. I mean, if there's something, chance of a fire or a contamination spill or something like that, that's a different story. But for just a small incident, I mean.
I know, but they all go to it.
I know.
And it's all about stats. You have to remember it. But if there's an accident, and there's no fire and there's no mess to clean up. And if it's on the highway, it should be the province doing that anyway, because it's, it's a provincial highway.
Yeah, just exactly. So.
But I'd like to get the government in on that to discuss that with them too, if we need somebody to come in and talk someday.
So that's probably a good idea for, like I said, for the, we do have fire, ambulance and police all going, being dispatched to these minor fender benders, and it's.
Well, we
really
should be
hard.
compensated for it.
Well, there's that too, just exactly, because it's certainly a burden on the municipalities to provide that service.
Yeah, I think, oh, no, sorry.
Yeah,
Mr.
go
Chair. I think the challenge with that is how, I think what we're gonna hear back will be, how do you determine when the call comes in, what level of a response that it needs, right? So, maybe that's a 911 question versus an emergency
Because, I mean,
response
the
question.
RCMP determined.
It's always the
when their calls
RCMP or
are.
doctor that's called, or the hospital that's called, right?
Yeah, but when they get a
The
call, the
ambulance.
RCMP, they either give it a high priority or a low priority with dispatch officers or not. If it's, something that, yes, burglary in progress or whatnot, they'll get somebody out there. But if somebody, stole your lawnmower last night and it's gone this morning, well, they're not gonna send an officer out for a week or two. So,
Yeah.
but they do prioritize some way, they know whether to send somebody out right away or not, so.
Yeah.
And it's through the 911 category, I'm sure.
Okay. No, that was the only thing that I was trying to think in my mind was how do we, how do they get that on the call? So they get a frantic call from somebody on the Hanweller heading up the highway and, there's been an accident,
But they're all hooked up to one call.
Okay, yeah.
They got a system, so when the call comes in, they all hear it, and that's what to do is
Well, they
jump in the
scramble.
action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they move right away.
And we're getting,
I see member McLean has.
yes, you might have to be able to help us.
Probably help us out a lot here, Andrew.
Good.
Where'd you come?
Yeah, just on that point. So there are three different identities that or entities that work together. When you dial 911, the person on the other end, whatever they state is how it goes. So a traffic accident would send all three different dispatch centers. So for ambulance of Brunswick, the dispatch center's in Moncton. So that 911 call is transferred over to them. So anybody that's deemed as injury or potential injury or the accidents, because sometimes it's somebody call 911 as they're driving by the accident, right? They don't want to stop. They just call 911 and say, I see an accident, and they keep on driving. So that will respond to all three different agencies. Ambulance of Brunswick would only deal with the medical portion of that. That's why they would go. Fire would go if there's anything with any leaks, any spills, any provincial hazards that would cause from that accident, just even being on the road. And then the police always go, basically depending on the amount of damage being done, but also is the patient intoxicated? Do they require, somebody to criminally charge or anything like that? So it's, like I said, a traffic accident is a little bit different than some of our medical calls for sure, but it's broke up into three different groups. So as much as when you call 911, you're calling the one number, that dispatch center is sending it out to whatever agency they deem necessary. So if the caller comes back and calls 911 and says, look, there's nobody injured, just somebody ran into the back of my car, that would be a police, right? The ambulance necessarily wouldn't get called, but somebody driving by and just sees a car in the ditch on its side would probably get all three agencies.
Would it be worthwhile looking into to see if they can, prior towards those calls? So at least the fire people wouldn't have to go, because they go to a lot of calls.
Yeah, they do. And they tend, I've been involved in rural firefighting for 27 years. So it depends on the fire department and what their qualifications are. Like some are MFR trained medical first responders. When they have that, they tend to go to different acuity medical calls as well. It used to be the policy that your fire department be recognized under Ambulance of Brunswick as a medical first responder. So if you get called, or MUCTA would be pretty much one. If there's a different medical call, they'd automatically be dispatched anyway. Sometimes you can have that change within our system, within the Ambulance of Brunswick, but it was kind of that either you go or you don't go. And like Mayor Powell said, like sometimes it is about the numbers. So, when you're looking at budgets and stuff like that to show you how many times you've been out, it kind of helps push that the need for more resources and more equipment. So, but yeah, they can. Yeah, your contact person for Ambulance of Brunswick for the West District would be Robin O'Hare, would be the regional manager, and Curtis McIntyre would be the operations manager for the West.
Do you have contact information for Robin O'Hara? Because I've been trying to reach her for months.
Robin, yeah, it's a him. And yeah,
Oh,
I have
okay,
it.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, can you send that to me, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, that's good information to have on hand for sure. Anything else under general discussion and directions of staff other than our next forum? If we agree that our next forum will be ambulance NB. We get the ball rolling on that. Get the proper people to attend and put a presentation on for us.
We're good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anybody have anything else? No. Time's a waste and people have their busy and places to go, so I'll call for a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll move it.
Seconder?
I'll
Later?
second it.
Meeting adjourned at, which is 12:23. Thank you, folks.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
taking time to do your busy
Thanks very
day.
much.
Thanks, Andrew.